Everyone wants success, but few have the discipline to earn it. Jack Ma, the man who built Alibaba from a small apartment into a global empire, didn't rely on luck. He relied on habits. The truth: success isn't born overnight. It's built daily, in silence, through small, consistent actions that most people overlook. If you want to transform your life, your mindset, your results, your future, start with what you do every sit. Everyone wants success, but few have the discipline to earn it. Jack Ma, the man who built Alibaba from a small apartment into a global empire, didn't rely on luck. He relied on habits. The truth: success isn't born overnight. It's built daily, in silence, through small, consistent actions that most people overlook. If you want to transform your life, your mindset, your results, your future, start with what you do every single day. Here are the 3 daily habits Jack Ma swears by that can change your life forever, if you dare to follow them. Let me tell you something I've learned after years of building, failing, rebuilding, and starting again. Success is not an explosion. It's not something that suddenly happens one morning because you got lucky or because someone finally noticed you. Success is silent. It grows quietly in the background, shaped by what you do when no one is watching. Every great dream, every major company, every personal transformation begins not with a miracle, but with a habit. The problem is, most people don't realize this. They think change requires a grand event, a new year, a new job, a new opportunity. But real change doesn't wait for perfect timing. It begins with daily discipline. It begins when you decide that your ordinary moments matter. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to do hard things. It's about training your mind to keep promises you've made to yourself. Every day, when you wake up, you have 2 choices: to live by default or to live by design. And that choice, made again and again, creates your future. Some people blame the world, their boss, or their situation. But the truth is, the world doesn't decide your destiny. Your daily habits do. Think about it. The most successful people in the world don't have 25 hours in a day. They don't have extra intelligence coded into their DNA. What they do have is an unshakable respect for routine. They don't let emotions decide their schedule. They act based on commitment, not comfort. When you look at them, you might see the rewards: the money, the recognition, the success. But what you don't see are the thousands of mornings they woke up early, the hundreds of nights they worked while others rested, the endless repetition that built their mastery. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It says, I believe in my potential enough to show up even when I don't feel like it. When you build that mindset, you stop being a slave to motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It's emotional. It fades. Discipline is built on identity. It says, this is who I am now. I do this because it's what successful people do. Let me give you an example. When I first started, I wasn't the smartest person in the room. I wasn't the richest or most connected. I faced rejection after rejection. From investors, from companies, even from people I thought were friends. But instead of quitting, I decided to out-discipline everyone else. I couldn't control my talent. but I could control my effort. I couldn't control opportunity, but I could control my consistency. So every day I studied, I worked, I improved. I treated small habits like big investments. That's the secret. People often miss the small things, create the big picture. Reading for 10 minutes today might not make you a genius tomorrow. Making one phone call might not grow your business immediately. Waking up early one day won't transform your life overnight. But when you do those small things every day, they compound. And over time, they become unstoppable momentum. Here's what I want you to remember. Discipline doesn't restrict your freedom. It creates it. The more disciplined you become, the more control you have over your life, the less you rely on motivation, the less power excuses have over you. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. So if you truly want to change your life, start small, but start today. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for perfect timing. Choose one thing you'll do every single day and do it with excellence. Over time, you'll look back and realize that those tiny, disciplined moments built the foundation of your success, because success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently, every single day, without fail. That's where transformation begins. If there's one thing I've learned on this long, unpredictable journey, it's that the moment you stop learning is the moment you start falling behind. The world doesn't wait. Technology changes, markets shift, people evolve. And if you're not learning, you're standing still while the rest of the world is moving forward. Learning something new every day isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for survival in today's world. When I was younger, I didn't have much. No money, no connections, not even access to fancy books or universities. But what I did have was curiosity. I was hungry to learn. I wanted to understand how things worked. Business, people, the world. So every single day, I learned something new. Not always from books. Sometimes from people, from mistakes, from failure. And those lessons became the foundation of everything that came later. You see, the real power of learning isn't about collecting information. It's about expanding the way you think. Too many people believe learning ends when school ends. But the truth is, that's when real learning begins. School teaches you knowledge. Life teaches you wisdom. And wisdom only comes to those who stay open, curious, and humble enough to admit they don't know everything. The world we live in today changes faster than ever before. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. That's why learning daily isn't just about growth. It's about staying relevant. Think about this. If you learn one small new thing every day, just one, that's 365 new insights a year. In 5 years, you become a completely different person. You don't notice it day by day, but when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. The problem is, most people say they don't have time. But let me tell you, time is not the issue. Priorities are. You have time to scroll on your phone, to binge, watch shows, to complain about what's not working. You can use that same time to learn, to read, to listen, to grow. Even 10 minutes of intentional learning each day can shift your mindset open new opportunities, and help you see the world differently. And learning doesn't only come from success. Some of the most valuable lessons you'll ever learn come from failure. Every mistake carries a message, if you're willing to listen. Every rejection teaches resilience. Every disappointment shows you what doesn't work, bringing you one step closer to what does. The people who learn from failure move forward. The ones who don't repeat the same mistakes. Learning something new every day also means learning from others. Surround yourself with people who challenge your thinking, not just those who agree with you. Talk to people from different backgrounds, different industries, different mindsets. You'll be amazed at how much inspiration can come from a simple conversation. The more perspectives you expose yourself to, the more creative and adaptable you become. But here's the secret. Learning is not just about absorbing information, it's about applying it. Knowledge without action is like a seed, never planted. You can read 100 books on business or leadership, but unless you apply even one idea, nothing changes. So when you learn something new, test it. Try it. Fail with it. Adjust it. Learning comes alive through experience. And most importantly, stay humble. The higher you rise, the more you must keep learning. Arrogance kills curiosity. The moment you think you know everything, you stop improving. The most successful people are not the ones who know the most. They're the ones who keep learning the longest. So make it a rule for yourself. Every single day, learn one new thing. Read one page, watch one lesson, ask one question. Observe one truth. It might not feel like much in the moment, but over time, those small doses of learning will transform you, your mindset, your confidence, your vision. Because in the end, knowledge is not just power, it's progress. And those who never stop learning will never stop growing. Keep your mind hungry. The more you learn, the farther you'll go. Every morning gives you a new chance to start again. The problem is, most people don't realize it. They wake up, grab their phones, scroll through messages, and immediately let the world decide how their day will go. From the very first minute, they're reacting instead of creating. And that's how most people lose control of their time, not because they're lazy, but because they never take a moment to pause, reflect, and plan before the day begins. If you truly want to change your life, you must first learn to win your mornings. The morning sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start your day in chaos, the rest of your day follows that rhythm. But if you start it with clarity, focus, and purpose, you take back control. Reflection and planning every morning is not about routines or discipline alone. It's about direction. You cannot hit a target you haven't set. When I was starting out, every morning felt like a battlefield. There were problems, setbacks, decisions, people waiting for answers. I realized that if I didn't prepare my mind before stepping into the day, I would be reacting to everyone else's agenda instead of leading my own. So I built a habit before touching any phone, email, or meeting. I would sit quietly and think, just think. What happened yesterday? What worked? What didn't? What can I do better today? That small act of reflection changed everything. It gave me perspective. It reminded me of my goals and kept my energy aligned with my purpose. When you take time to reflect in the morning, you stop rushing through life. You start noticing patterns, learning from mistakes, and making conscious choices instead of emotional reactions. Planning is equally important. Reflection shows you where you are. Planning shows you where to go. Some people think planning means writing long lists or complicated schedules. It doesn't. It's simply asking yourself, what are the 3 most important things I must accomplish today? Once you identify those, focus on them. Don't get lost in distractions or minor tasks that make you busy but not productive. Business looks like progress, but planning creates real progress. The most successful people I've met are not the ones who work the longest hours. They're the ones who plan their hours with the clearest intention. They don't let time happen to them. They design it. They treat every day like an investment, knowing that how they spend today determines where they'll be tomorrow. Now, reflection and planning also keep you emotionally grounded. Life is unpredictable. Things go wrong. Plans fail. People disappoint you. When you start your morning with reflection, you prepare your mindset to handle challenges calmly. You remind yourself that setbacks are part of growth, not signs of failure. That mindset keeps you strong when things get tough. And here's something I want you to remember: your morning is your private meeting with your future. Before the world wakes up and starts demanding your attention, that quiet moment belongs entirely to you. Use it wisely. Ask yourself powerful questions. What do I want to achieve today? Who do I want to become? What can I improve from yesterday? These questions shape your focus, and your focus shapes your destiny. Don't underestimate the power of just 10 minutes in the morning. 10 minutes of stillness, reflection, and intention can save you 10 hours of confusion later in the day. Without reflection, you drift. Without planning, you react. But when you start your day with awareness and purpose, you lead your thoughts, your actions, your results. You don't need to control the whole year, the whole month, or even the whole week. You just need to control your morning. Because when you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days, you win your life. So before you check your phone tomorrow, before you rush into the noise, take a moment for yourself. Breathe, reflect, plan. It's the simplest habit you can build, and the most powerful one to transform your future. Your day doesn't begin when you wake up. It begins when you decide who you'll be today. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in life and business is that real success never comes from chasing money. It comes from creating value. The people who rise the highest are not the ones who ask, how can I get more? But the ones who ask, how can I give more? When you shift your focus from taking to serving, everything around you begins to change. Your mindset, your relationships, your opportunities, even your sense of purpose. Too many people wake up every morning thinking only about themselves. Their goals, their income, their problems. But the world doesn't reward selfish ambition. It rewards contribution. Every great company, every great leader, every great movement starts with one thing: a desire to solve a problem for others. When you help others succeed, you build something that lasts longer than any paycheck. When I started my journey, I didn't have a grand plan to become successful. What I did have was a clear purpose to make life easier for people. That purpose became the foundation for everything else. I learned that when you serve others, when you truly understand their struggles and try to make their lives better, your success becomes a byproduct. You no longer have to chase opportunity, it begins to chase you. Adding value doesn't always mean building a business or inventing something new. It can be simple. Smile at someone. Teach what you know. Help a colleague solve a problem. Listen when others don't. Every time you make someone's life a little easier, you're creating value. You might not see the results immediately, but over time, that energy returns to you in ways you can't predict. The universe rewards people who give without expecting. Here's what most people get wrong. They think serving others makes them weak. But serving others is not about submission. It's about strength. It takes strength to put others first, to be kind when the world isn't, to keep giving even when it's not convenient. That kind of strength attracts trust, and trust is the foundation of every lasting success. In business, the same principle applies. Companies that focus only on profit may win in the short term, but they rarely build loyalty. Companies that focus on solving real problems for their customers, on creating value, and on making people's lives better, those are the ones that last. People can sense sincerity. They know when you care, and they respond to it. Every day, ask yourself, who did I help today? That one question can transform the way you work, the way you lead, and the way you live. When you make service a habit, not an obligation, it becomes part of your identity. You start noticing opportunities to add value everywhere. In your work, in your family, in your community. And here's the magic part. When you focus on giving, you end up receiving even more. You gain respect, connections, wisdom, and fulfillment that money can never buy. Sometimes people ask me, how can I find my purpose? My answer is simple. Stop looking inward and start looking outward. Purpose is not something you discover sitting alone. It's something you create by serving others. The more people you help, the clearer your purpose becomes. And remember, service doesn't mean sacrifice. It means creating impact. It means using your skills, your energy, and your time to make the world around you just a little bit better than it was yesterday. When you serve others, you grow. You learn patience, empathy, and leadership. You develop a kind of confidence that no external success can replace. The confidence that comes from knowing you've made a difference. So, as you build your habits, don't just focus on learning or planning for yourself. Use your growth to lift others. Teach what you've learned. Share your knowledge. Inspire those who are struggling. Success becomes far more meaningful when it's shared. Because at the end of the day, your legacy won't be measured by what you've earned. It will be measured by what you've given. If you want to live a life that truly matters, stop chasing success and start creating value. Serve first, and success will follow. failure is one of life's greatest teachers, yet it's the class most people try to avoid. We've been trained since childhood to believe that failure means we're not good enough, that it's something to be ashamed of, something to hide. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every person who's ever achieved something meaningful has failed, and failed many times. The difference is they learned from it instead of running away from it. When I look back, every failure I experienced carried a lesson that success could never teach me. Success makes you comfortable. Failure keeps you humble. Success can build your ego. Failure builds your strength. You can't grow if you're afraid to make mistakes. You can't lead if you can't learn from loss. The problem is, most people see failure as a dead end. They fall once and they stop trying. But failure is not the end of the road. It's just a sign that you're moving. Only people who never try never fail. The fact that you failed means you're in the game, you're learning, you're growing. Every mistake, every rejection, every no brings you closer to understanding what works. When I was starting out, failure was my daily companion. I was rejected from jobs, laughed at by investors, doubted by friends. There were days when I questioned everything, my ideas, my vision, even myself. But each failure had a lesson hidden inside it, and I made it my job to find it. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? I learned to ask, what is this trying to teach me? That simple change in mindset turned every setback into progress. Failure tests your commitment. When things don't go your way, you find out whether you were truly passionate or just curious. Everyone loves success. The applause, the recognition, the excitement. But the real test is how you behave when no one is cheering, when everything seems to be falling apart. If you can keep going then, you've already won. The truth is, failure is feedback. It's not personal. It's simply information showing you what doesn't work yet. The faster you learn from that feedback, the faster you grow. The only real failure is refusing to learn. The world doesn't punish mistakes. It punishes stubbornness. People who can't adapt, who won't listen, who blame others instead of reflecting, end up stuck. But those who face failure with courage and curiosity become unstoppable. And failure teaches empathy. When you've fallen and had to get back up, you understand others better. You become a better leader, a better friend, a better human. You stop judging people by their mistakes because you've lived through your own. That's how failure shapes character. Not through pain, but through something else I've noticed. People who fear failure often chase perfection. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect idea, the perfect plan. But perfection is an illusion. It's fear disguised as preparation. The only way to learn is to start, to act, to fail, to adjust, and to try again. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. So instead of hiding from failure, welcome it. Let it teach you. Let it sharpen your instincts, toughen your spirit, and strengthen your resolve. When you fail, don't lose the lesson in your disappointment. Reflect, adapt, and move forward smarter than before. Each failure is like a teacher giving you personal guidance, sometimes harsh, but always valuable. One of the most freeing realizations in life is that failure doesn't define you. Your response to it does. Every great success story is built on a pile of failed attempts, bad ideas, wrong turns, and moments of doubt. But those moments don't destroy you unless you let them. They refine you. So, don't be afraid to fail every day. Be afraid of not learning every day. Let failure be your classroom and experience your textbook. Because when you make failure your teacher, you turn every loss into a lesson and every setback into strength. The more you fail, the faster you grow and the stronger you become. Now, we've talked about daily discipline, the power of learning, the importance of reflection, the value of serving others, and the lessons hidden in failure. But none of it matters unless you take action. Knowledge without action is nothing more than potential energy. It looks powerful, but it changes nothing until you move. Every great idea, every bold dream, every transformation begins the moment you stop thinking and start doing. People often come to me full of enthusiasm after hearing something motivational. They say, "I'm inspired. I'm ready to change my life." And I smile because I've seen this moment before. Inspiration is easy. It's what you do after that feeling fades that matters. Real change doesn't come from excitement. It comes from commitment. It's built in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when the initial spark of motivation has burned out and only discipline remains. The truth is, everyone in this room already knows what they need to do. You know what habits will make you healthier. You know what skills will make you stronger. You know what changes will make you happier. The problem is not knowledge, it's action. We wait for the perfect time, the right feeling, the next opportunity. But life doesn't wait. Every day you delay is one more day you stay the same. So here's my challenge to you: start now. Not next week, not next year, not when things get easier or when you feel ready, because that moment may never come. Start with something small today. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Read one page. Write one idea. Help one person. Reflect for 5 minutes. Take one step and then another. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to begin. Action builds momentum, and momentum changes everything. When you move even a little, you begin to see progress. Progress gives you energy, and energy builds belief. And once you believe in yourself, you become unstoppable. The hardest part of any journey is the first step. Not because it's difficult, but because it requires courage. Courage to leave your comfort zone, to risk failure, to look foolish, to try again. But once you take that step, the next one becomes easier, and the next one after that feels natural. You see, success is not built in a day. It's built day by day. Each habit we've talked about is a brick. Alone, each one seems small, but together they build something unshakable. And that's the power of daily action. You don't have to do everything at once. You just have to be consistent. There's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Maybe you've wasted time. Maybe you've failed before. Maybe you've started and stopped more times than you can count. it doesn't matter. What matters is what you do now. Your future is still unwritten, and the pen is still in your hand. Don't let fear hold it still. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. Those are the same fears that have stopped millions of people from reaching their potential. But if you move forward despite fear, you separate yourself from the crowd. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's action in the face of it. So as you walk out of here today, remember this: your habits create your life. What you do daily becomes who you are. If you commit to learning, reflecting, serving, and growing, even a little bit, every single day, your life will transform in ways you can't imagine. Not because someone else told you it would, but because you earned it. Change doesn't start when you dream. It starts when you decide. Decide that today you'll begin. Decide that you'll stop waiting and start creating. Decide that you'll turn these habits into action, and that you'll keep going no matter what, because the truth is simple: the future belongs to those who act. Start now. Start small. But start and never stop. You've heard the habits. Now the question is, will you live them? The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is action. Don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow is promised to no one. Start small, start today, and let consistency become your greatest strength. Remember, every great success story begins with one simple habit done daily with heart. So take control of your morning, feed your mind, serve others, and never fear failure. Your new life doesn't begin next year. It begins now. Go build it step by step, day by day.